Could you please hurry up? Ashley urged her royal tailor while tapping her feet on the ground. As the noblest princess of Averna, Ashley was going to marry Prince Philip tomorrow, the dream husband of countless girls. She still remembered how happy and excited she was when Philip proposed to her before others' envy sights. They were in a relationship for many years, and this was her dreamt moment. Yet somehow, Ashley only felt restless now. Yes, Your Royal Highness, the royal tailor said with a smile that was not reaching her eyes. We are trying our best to fix the dress to your likings. I have been standing here for almost 3 hours while you fix your mistakes. Hurry up, Ashley said her words with gritted teeth. Only God knows how hard she was holding back her tongue, not to whisper a spell that would turn the tailor and her helpers into toads, as the royal blood. She was also a powerful witch. However, people in the royal palace were more afraid of her than respectful. It was said that she had inherited the terrifying power from her Dark Lord Grandpa. If not controlled, it could be very dangerous. Ashley. A familiar voice finally brought the annoyed princess a smile. It was her best friend and perhaps the only friend, Helen. Helen, you are finally here. Oh, thank goodness. Ashley was practically shouting her words. Look what a mess is happening on my dress, and my wedding is tomorrow. Could you believe this? It will be done soon. Tomorrow is your wedding and your birthday. It would be the happiest day of your life. Holding Ashley's hand, Helen answered. Her voice was so soft that no one could notice the weird light flashed in her eyes. It is done, Your Royal Highness. At that time, the royal tailor stood up and sighed in relief. Ashley waved them off and became busy checking her image in the mirror. The wedding dress was looking much better with the sparkles added on her long skirt. I just can't believe it. I'm really marrying Philip. Ashley smiled, but it soon froze as that restless feeling flooded her heart again. She turned to ask Helen, do you think we are rushing into this marriage? Don't be too stressed. Helen just smiled while handing her a glass of water. Here, drink some water. As always, Helen treated her with care and attentiveness. Ashley felt lucky to have such a nice friend. They grew up together and became closer like sisters, especially after the death of Helen's parents several years ago. Tomorrow, as the maid of honor by her side, Helen would witness the happiest moment of her life, and Ashley had already made a decision that she would pass her bride's bouquet to Helen directly after the wedding. Only Helen deserved her blessing. However, while nearing the glass to her lips, Ashley suddenly sensed something was not right. The water smelled a little different. What's the matter? Helen asked softly, looking at her innocent face. Ashley was in a trance for a moment. Nothing. Ashley pretended to drink the water and stood up to walk to the inside room. I'd better change first. As soon as the door was closed, Ashley got a cup to spit out the water and strengthened her ears to catch the movement outside. She drank it, Helen whispered, as if she was talking secretly on the phone with someone, and her next words made Ashley gasp. Once she falls asleep, I'll let you in. Helen chuckled wickedly. Don't forget the video camera tomorrow. Let's treat all the guests with the lustful video of our noblest princess of Averna. Ashley couldn't believe her ears. Was the woman outside there, who was planning to humiliate her in the most nasty way, really her best friend Helen? For all the past years, she treated Helen almost like her own sister. Even though she also felt upset when Helen stole more attention than her from her parent, she controlled her temper and power in order not to hurt Helen, because she wished that they could be friends for life. But now, Helen betrayed their friendship. Why? What went wrong between them? Ashley wondered, while tears collecting in her eyes. And soon, she gasped to hear Helen's next words. I hate her. Helen continued with gritted teeth. Philip was supposed to be mine, and so was the title of the princess. I am the one who met Philip first, and I am the most liked and respected lady in Averna. Ashley, that bad-tempered witch only knows to cause troubles, doesn't match Philip at all. No one liked her. Even not including her parents, I bet. Tomorrow, as long as she loses her control in public to see her own sex video, everyone will abandon her for being the shame of the royal Every vicious word that Helen spoke was like a sharp knife piercing Ashley's heart. No matter the happiness or sorrows, Ashley would always share them with Helen at the first time. And to save Helen from being bullied, so many times Ashley used her witchcraft, even if it only brought her more blame and fearful glances and heavier punishment from parents. She once thought Helen would be the person who understood her for the best. Yet, it all turned out to be lies. Before the most important moment of her life, her so-called best friend was going to ruin her. A mocking smile curled on her face. Ashley wiped out tears and raised her head. She won't let Helen get away with it, pushing her way out of the inside room. Ashley's presence made Helen gasp and dropped her handphone on the floor. Surprised, huh? Were you expecting me to fall on the floor, unconscious? So you could take the chance to humiliate me? Ashley said loudly while walking fast towards the scared-looking Helen. Drug her? Planning to ruin her pride? She would let this bitch taste it first, grabbing the glass of water with the remaining content. Ashley forced Helen to drink it, which had made Helen cough loudly. Ashley, please stop. What are you doing? Helen begged in a panic, shaking her head while crying pitifully. What a great actress she was. For a moment, Ashley hoped what she heard was wrong. She didn't want to believe that her angelic friend was actually a devil. What is going on there? All of a sudden, there came the voice of Ashley's fiancé Philip, who sounded was nearing her room. Ashley, please stop. I'm so sorry for spilling the water on your dress. Helen was on her knees as if she was begging for Ashley's mercy, just as Philip came in. Helen caressed her own cheeks, as if Ashley had slapped her very hard. Ashley, what did you do? Philip went down to help Helen to stand up, wrapping Helen's small body with his arms. No, Philip. It was an accident. Helen sniffled her tears and smiled weakly at Ashley. She did not mean to slap me. Ashley was just too stressed. I'm sure Ashley did not mean it, to slap me. Ashley gasped loudly and opened her mouth to breathe. She never expected that Helen could be so shameless. How dare she play tricks? Just before her, closing her eyes, Ashley felt anger burning in her chest. When she opened her eyes again, a hint of red circles was forming in her blue eyes. Get your hands off her. Philip, she is lying. Ashley, honey, don't do this. Calm down. Philip let go of Helen gently and walked towards Ashley to calm her down. Ashley's powers were getting out of control. If not handled properly, she would burn the whole room to ashes. She had done it before and became well known for burning things out of anger. Let go of me, Philip. Helen is lying. She was trying to drug me with that water. She was planning to take that chance to ruin me. Ashley explained furiously while pointing her finger at Helen. What are you saying, Ashley? I'm your best friend. I would never hurt you. Helen acted so sincerely and pitifully that Philip couldn't help frowning. Honey, I'm sure this was all a misunderstanding. This is Helen, your best friend, Philip said. Stop it, Philip. Why can't you believe me? I'm going to be your wife. You are supposed to be on my side, Ashley said, and pushed Philip's hand away when he tried to touch her. What is going on? Why are you shouting, Ashley? The sound of her father made them all turn to look at the door the moment she saw her parents. Ashley felt at ease a little bit. Finally, she got someone that would hear her words. Yet unexpectedly, her mother walked towards Helen to soothe her heavy tears. Ashley accused me of trying to drug her. I would never do such bad things to her. Please believe me, Uncle Ashton, Helen said while sobbing, making Ashley more like the bad person in the room. Anger and grievance broke out in Ashley's heart. She just wanted to burn Helen's hypocritical face at once. Oh, you lying piece of garbage. Ashley raised her hand towards Helen, yet Philip caught her wrist and pushed her to the floor. Stop this, Ashley. Philip looked at her disapprovingly. You are out of control now. Philip, you pushed me. Freezing on the floor, Ashley asked with a disappointed voice. Her eyes stared at Philip, who was checking Helen's condition worriedly. Why did her fiancé seem to care about Helen more than her? Ashley, stand up. This is just a misunderstanding. Ashton, her father demanded coldly. It is your wedding tomorrow. Behave like a princess. Ashley looked at her father in disbelief. When did he become so indifferent to her? Why did they all choose to believe Helen rather than her, as disappointment and bitterness overwhelmed her heart? Ashley stepped away from her father and said with gritted teeth, "Why would I marry a man who does not even trust me?" "Ashley, what are you saying?" Ashton asked in frown, while Philip looked at Ashley with a confused face. Yet now, Ashley didn't want to care about their feelings anymore. Why should she walk into a marriage that lacked of some basic trust? Why should she try so hard to restrain her power just to satisfy those miserly listeners to her? This is not who she is. I can't do this. Standing up slowly, Ashley removed her huge diamond engagement ring and threw it at Philip. Before they could react, she casted a spell to make them all faint on the floor. Then she walked away from the room with red flashing in her eyes. It was not easy to walk away from the palace she called home without being followed. However, Ashley could always succeed as long as she wanted. She was driving madly in a tinted Porsche, a classic limited edition, which was also her father's favorite. Ashley could imagine how terrific the look of her father would be when the car was found to be gone. But they should know more that she was hurting more. She still couldn't understand why all of a sudden. Her world turned upside down. She was supposed to be the happiest bride to be. Yet now turned out to be a stray dog with her broken heart. Tears fell down her cheeks, making her vision blurry. Something felt strange that her head was getting heavier, and her eyelids were slowly shutting down. "Oh, Helen, you did drug me. You little bee-bitch," Ashley whispered to herself with a laugh. "But you got the wrong timing to knock me down. Have you forgotten that I am a witch? You needed more drugs to knock me down that fast." After not being able to see the road clearly, Ashley stopped at an unknown building that looked like a roadside hotel. She thought of getting a room to stay and clear her head for the night. A warm shower would be good to have in the cold weather. Getting some cash from the car, she walked towards the hotel lobby. The drug kicking in her head made her walk to the hotel seem difficult. At times she would slip down to the ground or balance her body to the nearest tree. "Get up, Ashley. Come on, you can do this." She tried to cheer herself up before her body fell on some stranger who was much stronger than her. "Get off me!" Ashley shouted, and pushed the stranger away from her. Her hands were in the air trying to balance her body to walk straight. Her eyelids were getting heavier with her body suddenly getting warmer. What drug did Helen put in the water? Ashley thought before she fell again on the man's chest. He had a scent that was alluring and masculine. It was to her liking. Ashley looked up to see his face, but her sight was blurry to see his face clearly. "Who? Air. You," before more words could escape from her mouth. She felt his lips on hers, and he whispered some words that confused her more. "Mate. Mine." Alpha Nikolai never expected that a small business trip to Averna would yield him such a pleasant surprise. After searching for the past many years, he finally met her, his mate. His Luna. The cold wind was making her body shiver. Her nose and her cheeks were starting to turn red. But not as red as her luscious long and soft hair with the scent that was making him lose his mind. Looking at her intoxicating face, his inner wolf Blake started growling with excitement. "Take her, Nick. This is what we have been waiting for. Take her. Mark her as ours." More than just tasting her lips, Nikolai wanted to taste all of her. But not on the road in front of a hotel. Why was she just dressed lightly in this cold weather? He thought, as he noticed her freezing in his arms. Head to the nearby hospital. Picking up the woman, Nikolai demanded his loyal bodyguard Drake, and walked towards a black limousine with tinted windows. You smell so good," Ashley whispered in his arms. "And you are so strong. Stronger than Philip," she added with a giggle while wrapping her arm around his neck. She then saw a tattoo on his neck, a symbol she thought was looking familiar. "Who is Philip?" Nikolai asked with a frown forming on his face, hoping it was not someone that would take her away from him. He was not going to let that happen. "Someone that I am going to burn alive." Ashley placed a finger on her lips and whispered, Do not tell anyone about it. I will make it look like an accident. Entering into the car. Nikolai paused for a moment to sniff her scent. There was no hint of alcohol that he could detect from her, yet she was acting as if she had been drugged. Why does everyone think I'm a bad person? I am a good person. I am a changed person. Ashley kept on mumbling words that Nikolai did not understand. Who drugged you? He asked Ashley while caressing her cheeks gently. That bee-butch drugged me. I'm going to make her pay. She lied to me. Her eyes were closed, but her mouth kept talking. Somehow, Nikolai only felt she was cute. Who was she? He asked more questions. Being interested to know more about the woman he just met and starting to like. It was not like him, to be so caring for a woman. I hate them. They are the true evil ones, not me. Ashley giggled and rested her head on Nikolai's shoulders before she continued her words. I once had my cousins Miko and Luna turned into piglets. They were much prettier that way. Nikolai frowned and saw Drake looking at him intensely. Drake asked Nikolai with a look of concern. Is she a witch? You do know what would happen if you mate with a witch. Alpha Nit. Mind your own business, Drake. Nikolai said with gritted teeth and pressed the button to raise the divider to separate him from both Drake and the driver. Change of plan. Drive to my penthouse. Fast. She was too close to him and that made Nikolai feel restless. He could feel his wolf Blake was close to surfacing, eagerly wanting to have the mate bond with the red-hair beauty. What is your name? He asked while cupping her face with his left hand. Have we met before? She whispered her words breathlessly. Her hands moved to rest on his chest and slipped her fingers beneath his shirt. That simple touch was electrifying to his body. His breathing was becoming more erratic as each of her touched on his skin. After swallowing his saliva, he lowered his head with his face only an inch away from her. For years I have been searching for you. Her eyelids lowered as her eyes were looking hungry for his lips. Ashley did not understand what she was feeling towards her mysterious man. It was weird but exciting. Shut up and kiss me, Mr. Stranger. Her right hand grabbed his shirt to pull his body closer to her. She was hot for him as he was for her. The kiss was long and passionate with both not wanting to end it. Soft moan escaped her mouth as she felt his demanding tongue exploring her mouth. Both fighting to be in control. As their kiss intensified, he pulled her body to sit on his lap facing him. I fucking want you. Tell me, what is your name, pretty one? She smiled as she teased him with her tongue licking his lips. I don't think you would like me if you know who I really am. Well, I guess I would have to make you scream your name to me once I place you on my bed. His words made Ashley bite her lips. Her heart was beating fast. In the private elevator up to his luxurious penthouse, they two were kissing wildly and Ashley's dress already slipped down to the floor. The connection Nikolai was feeling towards her was getting stronger by each second. Take her, Nick. It is time. His wolf Blake kept pestering him to claim her as his. A soft growl escaped his mouth as his eyes were turning into shades of yellow. At the age of 30, Nikolai had many women in the past to warm his bed. But none could satisfy the desire he had in him. That desire was to be with his mate. Now, she was just before him. Let go of me. Ashley suddenly pushed him back to separate his body that was controlling hers. One thing for sure, she hated being controlled by another man, feeling him pushing her back at the walls of the elevator again. Part of her sense slowly came back with her eyes opened wider. There was something odd with the man. What are you? She asked, as he carried her out of the elevator and entered his penthouse. And her words only made him smile handsomely, showing his teeth with his fangs growing slowly. Fear was not what she was feeling, nor was she wanting to cast a spell on him. What is your kind doing here in Averna? Do you know who I am? With only her bra and panties left on her body, he carried her weak body all the way up the stairs to his room. He ignored her questions. He was in fact enjoying her curiosity about him. You should be afraid of me, Mr. Yellow Eyes, she whispered with her lips moving closer to his. Her mind was again out of control, breathing fast with lust for his kiss. You should be afraid of me, pretty one, he responded before crushing his lips on hers. Ashley was not sure what he was. Her mind was in between the past and the present. Complicated and confusing, the drug was finally working, and her mind was slipping in and out of consciousness. "Are you going to hurt me? Are you a wolf?" Smiling at her, he whispered close to her ears, blowing warm breath making her tremble. "I'm never going to hurt you, pretty one. Do tell me your name." "Your name?" he asked again, after pinning her hands above her head on the bed, locking her tightly to him. "Ashley," she answered before he took her to be his. She was all wet for him, as he took her over and over again, thrusting inside of her deeper each time. He knew at that moment that he was indeed her first, and he wanted to make sure he would be her one and only. "Say my name, Ashley," he whispered as he pushed his erection deeper inside of her, making her moan passionately with her mouth slightly open to breath. "Open your eyes. Look at me. Know that you are now mine." He could not get enough of her, and claimed her mouth as he increased the intensity of his movement. "Mark her, Nikolai." His wolf Blake was panting breathlessly, as he continued to make love with her, not caring that she was falling asleep. "Nikolai." She whispered his name before he filled her with his seeds, which brought him a satisfied smile, he promised while kissing her earlobe tenderly. "You are mine." Nikolai never cared even if she was a witch. Yet what he did not know was the prophecy that coming for them had just begun. As the ray of morning sunshine seeped through the window of the room, Ashley smiled while cuddling her own body beneath the soft comfort of the warm blanket. Her mind was going back to the day Philip proposed marriage to her. Although many thought they were a bad match, but then she recalled something that made her open her eyes slowly. "Today is my wedding day." Looking around the unfamiliar room she was in, Ashley gasped. Moving her body slowly, she whispered to herself, "Where the sect am I?" Lifting the soft silky covers on her body, she gasped again, seeing herself without any piece of clothes on her body. Her head started to pound from the inside as she tried to recall what happened. Then she saw a ring on her finger. "That's not my engagement ring," she thought, and stared at the gold ring carved with a symbol she was not familiar with. "Damn, it is stuck," she thought while trying to remove the ring but failed to do so. Few seconds later, a memory came in. One by one, tears fell on her cheeks as she realized what kind of a mess she was into. Ashley could never imagine she would give her virginity to another man than Philip, a complete stranger she had randomly met. Although, for some unknown reasons, she felt a connection with the man, Ashley still blamed it on the drug Helen put on her, which totally ruined her life. Ashley was going to make sure Helen would pay for what she had done to her. But first, she needed to go home and find Philip, confessing to him what happened to her. After wearing her slightly torn dress, she whispered a spell to ease the pain she was feeling on her body, tiptoeing quietly with her heels raised. Ashley whispered another spell and blew her one breath around the room. It was a spell to remove any trace of her ever being there. Nothing should be evidence that she had ever been here, and lost her virginity to a stranger on her wedding day. On the way back to the palace, a lot of plans were playing in her head. She was determined to reveal Helen's true colors to everyone. Walking towards Helen's room, she formed a fire in her palm and opened the door. "Where the feck seek are you? You lying by tetch, Ashley?" The voices she heard came from both Helen and Philip. Ashley froze while staring at the scene in front of her. It was her worst nightmare. She wished she had a spell that could stop it from happening. But there was none. "Ashley, I can explain." Philip got up from Helen's bed, wearing his pants matched with an unbuttoned shirt. He did not even realize Helen's red lipstick was still on his cheeks. Standing behind Philip, Ashley could see a smirk was forming at Helen's face. It made Ashley hate her more by the second. "I do not mean to hurt you, Ashley. I'm sorry after you left me. It made me consider our marriage again. We are still too young, and last night I realized that I was truly in love with Helen, and..." A slap came across Philip's cheeks before he could finish his sentence, tears watering her eyes. Ashley already knew what he was going to say next. She did not want to hear any more of his hurtful words. "Why, Philip? Am I not good enough for you?" she couldn't help questioning. I'm so sorry, Ashley. We are sorry. It just happened. Helen sniffled her fake tears. Your parents also agreed Philip to marry me, shivering in anger and humiliation. Ashley was trying her best not to cry, or even worse, burst into flames. Yet Philip rubbed his cheeks and a wicked smile was forming on his face. You dare slap my face, Ashley? Do you know who I am? I'm the Crown Prince of Dracor. I can't have a wife who does not respect me. Helen is a better choice to be my wife. How could he say such things to hurt her? He had promised only to love her, and today was supposed to be her birthday and their wedding day. Is it your true words? Ashley sobbed her tears, which made Philip pause looking at her. It was the first time he saw her in tears. For a moment, he felt a little pity for her, but when Helen held his hand, he regained his coldness. You can't force love, Ashley. You can't put a spell on it either. That's bad magic. Helen's words made Ashley stop crying and her eyes turned shades of red with fury. Shut up. Stop pretending to be this nice person who you are not. Ashley raised her hand, intending to throw fire at Helen. But before the fire in her palm escaped in the air, a warm hand landed on her cheek. Slap. Calm down, Ashley. Control your powers. It was her father, but Ashley only felt painful to hear. Calm down and suppress your powers now. It was like poison to her ears. Why could father slap her when Helen was at fault? Why was he even angry at her when it was Helen and Philip who betrayed her? Her anger grew higher and higher with blood tears falling down her cheeks. How could you do this to me? I would never forgive you, both of you, all of you. Now I finally know. You were never happy to have me as your daughter. You think I am cursed, so you even sent me away to Yenzen when I was just a little girl. She giggled wildly while tears bursting more. Maybe you wish for Helen to be your daughter instead of me. Fine. I'll make your wish come true. Turning away to exit Helen's room, she looked at her parents facelessly. Ashley, please don't say that. Her mother tried to approach her, but Ashley moved back and shook her head. Ashley is dead. Your daughter is dead. I have enough of this. By Velshot. Today was supposed to be my happy day, but you gave it to Helen. How ironic. Ashley then looked at Helen one more time. I'm going to make you pay for this. Everyone will know what a manipulative bee-bite you are, Helen. Ashley's mother, Annabella, was in tears. Annabella shouted as she sensed what her daughter was going to do next. Ashley, no, freezing everyone that tried to stop her from leaving the palace. Ashley removed a bracelet from her hand. It was used to control her powers that would lead her to be darker and stronger, throwing the protective bracelet down on the floor. Ashley smiled at her parents. Now, you watch what you see in me unleash. Since you never believed in me trying to be good, I will show you what you want to see in me. Raising her hand in the air, Ashley burnt parts of the palace with fireballs from her hand. Before she left the place that she once called home, that day, she left everything, but not long later, something would bring her back to the past, a past, with the man named Nikolai, Nikolai's POV. No deal. I will not submit to their demands. I hung up the call after hearing what my enemies wanted in return for peace for my people. I threw my handphone towards my bodyguard Drake and ran my hand across my hair in frustration. If it is war that they want, we will give them that. Drake chuckled and raised his hands in the air showing defeat. O mighty Alpha Nikolai, the feared Alpha from the north. Not even the queen of the supernatural beings would want to start a war with you. Sensing Drake mocking me, I threw the cigarette on my fingers towards him that almost burnt his sweater. Mock me again. I'll throw your skinny self out from this balcony. Go get some fresh clothes and food for my woman. Make sure she is comfortable and well protected. I will clear this Site with the Queen of Averna, myself. If it is not for Drake's experience in war and good fighting skills, I would not have hired him to be my bodyguard. A tall and skinny man but fast as lightning. The fastest wolf I have ever met in my life. But he was probably the only wolf that dared to mock me at his will. I had no idea why I kept him by my side all these years. Annoying prick. Your wish is my command, most feared Alpha in the realm. I would take good care of your precious pretty witch. Drake sang his words with his hands in the air, and snorted with a short laugh. What is so funny? Do you want to die today, Drake? I could not believe my second-in-command Beta Ivan recommended Drake to be my bodyguard and temporary assistant. I should cut his tongue out one day. I have never seen you in love with a woman before. A human. Drake rubbed his chin and smiled. Number not human. Worst thing, a witch. Don't you think she looks familiar? Not many women here in Averna have that kind of red hair. What is her name again? Ashley. Stop talking and get some food for us. Get lost, Drake. I pushed him towards the balcony door to get back in the room, seeing the bed empty in my room. My body froze with my eyes looking around, and my nose sniffing to find her scent. Where the feckseek is she? Go find her, Drake nodded and walked around the room swiftly. He checked the room and the bathroom to look for her. Under the bed, behind the curtains, in the wardrobe. She was not there. He then exited the room to check around my penthouse. I knew she was gone. I could not sense her presence in the penthouse any longer. Where are you, pretty one? My wolf Blake was manic now. After he sensed my mate was missing, I told you to mark her. You should have chained her to the bed. How can you be so careless? It is all your fault. Blake was blaming me nonstop in my head. It was annoying and was making me lose control of my mind to think. Shut up. For a moment, Blake was in silence. Peace at last. So, why did you not mark her? Did she put a spell on you to make you stupid? I rolled my eyes and growled. The peaceful moment lasted just for a few seconds before Blake started asking me tons of questions. I had to respect Ashley. She is a human, which means she could not reject us after being marked. I explained to my wolf, who knew that but was too stubborn to accept it. Nikolai. I refused to believe our mate would reject us. I felt the connection. It was strong, Blake said, and was pushing himself out to take over my body. I closed my eyes and pushed him back to reject myself to turn into my wolf form. Stop it, Blake. We will find her. She may have used a spell to cover up traces of her presence, but we now know what she looked like. We know her name. How difficult would it be to locate her? I said, while walking around my room to find out if she had left any of her belongings behind. But there was none. She was thorough. Before I left the room to find Drake, my handphone rang. It was a call from my mother. Mama, this is not a good time to call. I'm busy. Son, you need to come home. Pamela is here waiting for you. You do remember her, right? She has grown to be such a strong and beautiful woman. A strong wolf in her would make her such a good candidate to be your wife. My mother went on and on trying to convince me to come home to meet her choice of woman for me to marry. I scoffed at that idea. Pamela might be a strong and beautiful woman that my wolf pack would definitely agree for me to take her as my Luna. But I had no feelings for her. No connection at all. I have found my mate. I cut my mother short, followed by a moment of silence from both sides. Then, I could hear her shouting of excitement followed by several cheers and hands, clapping coming from other voices. Did she put me on the speakerphone? Who else was there with her? I sighed with annoyance. Oh, my lovely son. We are so happy to hear this. Your Uncle Igor and his family are here too, waiting for you to come home. I can't wait to meet your mate. Tell me all about her. My mother was the sweetest woman I have ever met. Many in the past did not agree for my strong father to mate with a weak wolf woman like her. But my father was obsessed with my mother's beauty. Love at first sight, they said. Is that what I was feeling with Ashley? Ashley was indeed beautiful, and I could sense her to be a strong woman. Was she really a witch? For a moment, my heart was beating faster than usual. Sweat was forming on my forehead. Would my family accept Ashley? A witch as my Luna? When my father, the great Vlad Wolfguard, passed away, my mother only had me to depend on. So did my father's wolf pack, a great responsibility that I had to carry for several years. Many wars fought for me to uphold the Wolfguard name to its glory again, against other wolf packs in the realm. Many deaths and bloodshed. I was undefeated and feared. They called me the Dark Alpha. And now, I must find my mate, for if my enemies got to her first. I was not sure if she could survive the attack. I hung up the call with my mother without saying goodbye, and walked out of my room, shouting in anger. I gave my command to my men: find her at all costs. Protect her. Ashley's POV. 5 years later. I had never been so nervous seated in the plane. It was not due to the slight turbulence, or even due to passengers around me in the business class looking at me as if they knew me. Those feelings were nothing, as compared to what I was going to go through for the next couple of days. Of course, I could fix my feelings with a simple spell. A simple spell? I smiled to myself. For the past 5 years I have been practicing my magic so much more than just using spells. I studied all that needed to be known to be a witch that was going to be at least as powerful as the Queen of Averna, my grandmother, the one they called the Queen of the Paranormal Beings. I wanted to be stronger than her so she could never control my life. I scoffed at that. Family was supposed to protect their children. But my family pretty much feared me, and I guess they wished I was never born. Looking at the little boy seated next to me, I smiled. He was such a handsome and strong boy. My boy, I will not let anything happen to him. He was all I have that I could call family. Mommy, why are you looking at me like that? He asked and held my hand with his little fingers. Moving his head closer to me, he whispered, "Are you afraid of flying?" I let out a small laugh and held his hand tight. "With you by my side, Teddy, I'm not afraid of anything." He nodded and smiled at me with his dimples showing. "Don't worry, Mommy. I'm a big boy now, I'll protect you." "Big boy, huh?" I kissed his hands and tucked him in his seat with his blanket and favorite teddy bear, which he named it Kiko. Sometimes I could hear him talk to Kiko, recalling what happened 5 years ago. I sighed to myself. I went abroad soon after that unforgettable night with a man that took my virginity. A night that got me pregnant unexpectedly. I could recall the thoughts I had in the past to abort my baby. At the age of 20 back then, I was not ready to be a mother, especially when I was alone living in a city far away from my home in Averna. Leaving everything I had to start a new life, a life free from chains and control by my family. Fate brought me to meet a kind doctor who had convinced me to keep my baby. It was said to be most likely my only chance to have one. I had complications. I was in pain. 9 months of agony and uncertainty, but it was all worth it. Teddy was born to the world perfectly. He gave me a purpose to live this cruel life that seemed to hate me so much. I had never regretted giving birth to Teddy. He was the best gift that God had given me in my life. My little protector. "Mommy, you are looking at me in a weird way again." Teddy whispered at me and giggled after I pinched his nose. He looked so much like his father, although I'm starting to forget what he looked like. I only remembered his name to be Nikolai. It was indeed 5 years ago since I last met him. He never looked for me. Well, if he did, he surely sucked at it. Or perhaps I had disguised myself to be someone else so perfectly that no one could locate me. For the past 5 years I went missing. "Here is the juice that you requested, Miss Winters." The stewardess came to place a glass of orange juice. I thanked her and drank it slowly, while looking at my baby boy sleeping by my side, Teddy Winters. That was a name I gave to him after I changed my name to Tiana Winters. For 5 years I hid at a little place called Mystic Town. Dyed my hair black and even learnt how to speak their language. That was a piece of cake to do. What was difficult was living with the legendary witch named Lorraine Winters, a person who was once a friend of my grandmother, Queen Anastasia, Regis of Averna. Not just any friend, Lorraine Winters was her teacher. I did not know why I called her for help. Perhaps I thought back then staying with our family's enemy would hurt my parents. It turned out to be the best decision I made. It was all thanks to Finley Regalia, a friend I had when I studied designing clothes back in Averna. He lived in Mystic Town himself, a werewolf and son of an alpha from the Regalia wolf pack. That one call I made to Finley got me to Mystic Town, where I then met Lorraine Winters, a witch that was said to be more than 100 years old. I could not believe my eyes when I saw how young she looked. "Mommy, why do we need to move to another country?" Teddy whispered to me with a sad face forming. He liked living in Mystic Town where he already made several friends. No, baby boy, we are not moving there permanently. My new job at Echo Group requires me to move there just for a couple of days. Remember my friend Finley? You will be staying with him for a couple of days while I sort out important work matters. It won't be long. Can you do that for Mommy? I kissed my son's head and caressed his cheeks. He was pouting his lips and sighed once. Will you be safe there without me? How can I protect you if we are not together, Mommy? He looked at me with his blue round eyes sparkled with a hint of tears coming. My baby boy, I'll be fine. You need to promise me you will not cause any trouble with Finley. I smiled seeing Teddy nodded his head. Where I was going next was a destination that I had not been for the past 5 years. A place where my past would haunt me. Few hours later, I heard the stewardess announcing the plane was going to land shortly. Welcome to Averna International Airport. Being back at Averna again made my heart beat faster. I had many plans forming in my head, and I was going to take back what was supposed to be mine. I am coming home, B. Butches. The thought of seeing Helen again made me smile wickedly. Ashley's POV. At the airport, I waved my hand to Finley, who was already waiting for us at the entrance. Teddy ran towards Finley and gave him a hug. I smiled seeing them embrace each other. Teddy never knew who his father was, and I was glad Finley could feel that void of a father figure in Teddy's life. My true friend, which I came to like over the past years I got to know him. Hey. Beautiful, he kissed my cheeks lightly and carried Teddy in his arms. So are you ready to face your fears? I laughed at that and placed my sunglasses to cover my eyes. I'm afraid of no one. They should fear me. Finley chuckled and walked next to me with his assistant, helping me to push my luggage trolley. Don't worry, buddy. We will have so much fun together. Teddy nodded his head and seemed to like the idea of living with Finley for a few days. I was glad they got along so well. At the entrance of a car with a driver waiting for me, I turned to face my son and gave him a tight hug. He whispered in my ears, "Take care, Mommy. Call me." His words made both my heart and Finley's heart melt. Teddy was such an adorable boy, and I would not let anything happen to him. You take care of yourself, my little man. Listen to Finley while I'm gone. I love you more, Mommy. Hearing him whisper those words made me sad to leave him for a few days. I was going to miss him, very much, but Mommy got to work and build an empire on her own. I did all that for my son's future. It would all be his one day. I did not need the help of my family to get me to where I was in Echo Group. I then said my goodbyes and entered the car. The driver would take me to an event where I had to represent Echo Group as a designer. Tiana Winters was already a name known in the fashion industry. I worked hard for it, and I was not going to stop to get what I wanted for my career that I loved. On the way to the event's location, the car stopped in the middle of the traffic that was slowly building up. I sat back and drank from a bottle of water. My eyes then looked around Averna City that had not changed much since I left it. My eyes stopped on an image flashing on the city screen. A live interview was shown on the screen with the interviewer talking to a couple. The man looked familiar. Those light brown eyes, those dimples, those lips. I gasped and closed my mouth with my hand. Is that him? Who are they? I mean, the couple on the screen. Do you know them? I asked the driver while pointing my finger at the big screen on the side of the road. You don't know them. They are quite popular here in Averna, especially when Miss Pamela was originally from Averna before she moved to Purple Mountain. The man next to her is Nikolai Wolfgard, the man that is rumored to be the next Alpha King. The hostess is probably asking them about their relationship. Rumors had it that they are getting engaged. Maybe that was what the interview was about. The driver then turned the car to the left to enter the hotel where the event was going to take place. My eyes were still on the city screen, showing Nikolai smiling without saying anything. He already had a girlfriend. Perhaps that was why he did not bother to look for me. I suppressed the inexplicable bitterness in my heart and gave myself a smile. It would be better that way. Especially when he was Teddy's father. I would not want him to take Teddy away from me. Nikolai would have to fight me to death if he planned to take my teddy. Hey. Way. Nikolai's POV. As soon as the interview finished, I received a call from my uncle Igor. He questioned me why I did not announce my engagement with Pamela. I scoffed at that question and rubbed my chin. In the first place, I did not agree with this arrangement, Uncle Igor. I already found my mate. You knew that. I did not know how much longer I was going to play this charade of pretending to be in a relationship with Pamela. It was suffocating. Igor thought the match between me and Pamela was the perfect choice, as Pamela came from a strong wolf pack from Purple Mountain. Her father was one of my father's strongest allies. Our bond would make my wolf pack stronger. Nico, you need to give up looking for her. It has been 5 years. You need an heir, and having Pamela as your wife is a good choice. She is strong and beautiful, a perfect woman to bear your children. Igor was going on and on advising me to choose Pamela as the right choice for my wolf pack. I could not stand hearing his nonsense, and hung up the call. At that moment I wished I could talk to my wolf Blake, who seemed to have ghosted me since the day I lost Ashley. I was not the only one who was looking for her. It seemed that the whole of Averna was looking for my Ashley. It came as a shocking surprise to know that I slept with a princess of Averna, the lost princess of Averna who had run away from her wedding. A runaway bride. Was it because of me? For years I wondered why she left all of a sudden, but I was not going to give up looking for her. I prayed she would still be alive, somewhere out there. Blake, I whispered to my wolf, who was in hiding. Nobody knew that Blake had been dormant for a long time, for I did not mark Ashley as my mate promptly. While in my deep thoughts, I sensed something familiar. A strong scent passed by. I looked around to locate the owner of that scent. Who was it? Author's POV. Bright lights, camera flashing, reporters interviewing, and people queuing to enter the hotel. The event held at Moonlight Hotel was something Ashley did not expect for it to be that big of an event. Ashley felt a little underdressed for the occasion. Wearing her own design dress, it was not her best but indeed eye-catching with a vibrant colors, combination of red and gold. She was advised by her agent Gina Lee to submit her designs for an important contest. It was a contest that Ashley had been looking forward to winning since she graduated as a designer. The winner will earn a conceivable reputation and a designing contract worth millions of dollars. She needed that money. It would be all for her son, Teddy. She needed the reputation. Well, that was for her. Tiana, glad to see you here. How was your flight here? I hope all was well. Gina walked in and gave Ashley a brief but tight hug and smiled widely. I am so in love with your designs, and I am confident you would be selected for the final round of assessment. Ashley smiled and placed her drafted designs at the table for submission. It was indeed a masterpiece. Something that Ashley had put all the energy she had got to complete it. It was a competition open to all beings. Humans, witches, werewolves, vampires, all were welcome to join. But no magic was allowed to be used to enter the competitions. It would be assessed to be authentic with fair evaluation. A panel of esteemed judges would be present to perform the selection. Before Ashley could respond to Gina, she sensed someone was walking towards them. The scent was familiar, and the sound of the heels belonged to one person Ashley recognized well. No fecking way, Ashley thought with hatred forming in her head. Gina Lee. A pleasure to meet you here. I'm Helen Ross, a designer at Sapphire Group. Hearing Helen's sweet voice made Ashley grit her teeth and formed her hand into a fist. She was trying her best not to set Helen on fire. Oh my. You must be the famous Tiana Winters. Helen offered her hand to shake Ashley's hand. It is my pleasure to meet. She paused with her eyes wide. You, Ashley? Is that you? Ashley, who would that be? Gina asked, and smiled from Helen to Ashley, not knowing what was going on. Helen Ross, a pleasure to meet you, Sapphire Group. I guess the owner of the company, Crown Prince Philip, would also be here tonight. The competition this year would be exciting to have designers from both Echo Group and Sapphire Group. Gina continued. Well, Miss Ross, this is Tiana Winters. I'm sure you have heard of her. No introduction is needed. Ashley tried her best to maintain calm and acted as if that news did not affect her at all. Sapphire Group was a company that Philip planned to open for her when they were together. Knowing that it was now where Helen was working, Ashley felt betrayed. Helen took everything from her. Gina went on to praise Ashley's designs even when Helen was still standing near them. Ashley could sense Helen was not comfortable. It was indeed a delightful sight to see for Ashley where Helen looked nervous. Excuse me. I need to go to the washroom. A pleasure to meet you, Miss Ross, Ashley said, as she left the room, not wanting to spend another minute in the same place, breathing the same air as Helen. It was suffocating. What they did not know was, Ashley wanted to leave the hotel, as she was not ready to meet both Helen and Philip. After 5 years, she still could not forgive, nor forget the betrayal her loved ones did to her. Walking past by several designers who stopped her for a casual chat was not something Ashley wanted to do. She did not want to be recognized by anyone. She just wanted to get out of the hotel. Ashley knew it was a risk she took coming back to Averna. Someone would recognize her. Eventually, she hoped that would not happen so soon, at least, not until her son was safely kept hidden. Her family would also take him away from her. They would chain him and take him away. Especially if they found out that Teddy was special. He possessed powers that Ashley knew was growing in strength each day. When she finally got near the door to exit the hotel, Ashley sensed something that was bothering her mind. Her heart beats faster by each step. Her skin felt a tingling sensation, as if something was pulling her away from the door. It can't be, she thought while she kept walking, not wanting to look around to see the person that had taken her body. That one night stand they had was something she could not forget. For a moment, she realized it was a mistake to ever come back to Averna. Tiana weighed up. Gina walked closer to her and stood next to Ashley. Where are you going? The designers are invited to attend a welcoming party later tonight. You would not want to miss it. I'm sorry. I feel a little tired already. Must be traveling. As she said her words, her eyes stopped for a few seconds at the glass wall, seeing a reflection of a man that stood several meters behind her. It was him. Well, I have arranged for a place for you to stay for a couple of nights while they assess the submitted designs. Come with me. I'll show you the place. Ashley nodded as she followed Gina to her car. She pretended not to see Nikolai and followed Gina to an apartment that she had suggested for Ashley to rent. Realizing how close Nikolai was to her, Ashley decided to keep Teddy a secret from everyone, including Gina. Ashley was not sure who to trust. However, no matter how challenging it would be, she would not be beaten easily. She would make herself win until the last. Ashley's POV. Bless this place. May peace dwell within. Protect those that I welcome to enter. O spirit of my witch ancestors, surrounding my place with your protection, day and night. I whispered a spell, and blew the surrounding with my one deep breath. A sense of calmness and peace was felt, making me smile with content. I could feel the presence of my protectors looking after me in this world. I felt safe again. I then walked to the bathroom to clean up in the luxurious tub that was waiting for me. After removing my clothes, I entered the tub that I had filled with calming scent of lavender. Closing my eyes for a moment, I enjoyed myself in the warm bath with a smile. It had washed away all my problems for the night. My hand phone rang a few minutes later, which had disturbed my short moment of peace. It was a message received from Gina. She was back at the Moonlight Hotel to attend the rest of the program planned for the night. A recording of a speech was sent to me. It was from none other than my grandmother, the Queen of Averna. She was invited to deliver a welcoming speech to the contestants for the annual International Design Competition. Gina had no idea who I really was. To her, I was just Tiana Winters from Mystic Town. Not the missing princess Ashley Tashiana Knight. This annual International Design Competition is held not just to glorify the winners, but it is an avenue for all beings to unite for a purpose. Peace, human, witches, wizards, werewolves, vampires, and any other paranormal beings registered under my protection. are welcome to join and together with this event. We promote unity and friendship. I snorted hearing my grandmother spoke her words, which I knew was just for a publicity stunt. Nonsense. While she spoke in this event, there were wars happening elsewhere between the human race and other beings. Peace was far from it. They feared the queen, for she was indeed powerful. But I knew well on her weaknesses, and I was no longer afraid of her. No more chains. No more being trapped by her. My parents did not seem to want me. In return for that, I left them. I was not going to go back to my old life. I did not continue to hear the rest of her speech and moved to make a call to my sweet baby boy. Teddy, I missed him so much and wished I could have him here in my apartment. But it was too dangerous to have him near me, especially when his father was so nearby. Before arriving at this simple apartment, I whispered a spell to ensure no one could trace me and my scent. Especially by werewolves. Nikolai was my past, and I hope he will not be my future. I would do that by avoiding him as much as I could. He would not fit into what I had planned to do next, as a payback to those that had ruined my life. After my bath, I was ready to take a long sleep after the long flight that I had boarded earlier. While on the soft, comfy bed, I called Teddy. Seeing his cute face in the video call, I felt that all my troubles had disappeared. Hello, my little cute Teddy. How are you doing? Are you causing trouble for Finley? Teddy gave a cute, contagious laugh that made me laugh along as well. Mommy, can you do this? He asked while trying to touch his lips to his nose. Finley, what have you been teaching my son? I pretended to be annoyed, but truthfully, I was delighted to know Teddy was going on well with Finley. There were no words to explain how much I owed Finley for saving me from my past. A runaway bride. That was what the people of Averna called me after I did not appear at the grand wedding planned for me by my royal family. 5 years ago. I could not believe I was the one being blamed, and Philip played the role as the innocent one that was left at the altar. Rubbish. I wished I could tell the whole world that he was the one that had cheated on me with my former best friend. Their betrayal would not be easily forgiven by me. I closed my eyes after ending the call with my son. I needed to rest. The thought of having to meet both Helen and Philip again made me a little nervous, but it had to be done. I had so much planned for that. A dream then appeared in my mind, which always appeared at my nights these years. It was more like a memory. Images of what I had recalled during my encounter with Nikolai 5 years ago came to my mind. Hot, steamy make-out session came next. It made me moan with pleasure as I recalled how good his tongue was. Exploring my mouth hungrily, he was such a good kisser. Way better than Philip. Feeling him inside of me sent a shockwave all across my body. I liked it very much, as the image of him was about to mark me. I woke up from the vivid dream when I heard my hand phone ring. The caller ringtone went on several times until I had no choice but to answer it. Yes, Gina. What is the matter? Tiana, you need to come here now. Something happened, and I don't know how and why it happened. Gina said her words while sounding out of breath, as if she had just run a marathon. Calm down. Tell me what happened. I moved to a sitting position and looked at the time. It was 3 hours before midnight. She should have gone to the after-event party to be held till past midnight. When I arrived at the hotel, I was called to a room where the submitted designs were being assessed at the first level of elimination. A staff member came to me and told me that you might have made a mistake when submitting the designs. It had annoyed an investor who happened to be in the panel of judges. This is serious, Tiana. You need to come here and fix it tonight, or you'll be eliminated at the first level. Gina sounded disappointed on something I did not understand what went wrong. After the call ended, I got up to get dressed for the event wearing the dress I had worn earlier. Minimal makeup was put on my face as I was too tired to look my best. I could not figure out what sort of mistake I made. I was thorough in checking my designs before I made the submission to enter the competition. When I reached the hotel, Gina was nowhere to be seen. She must have left for the after-event party. A staff member ushered me to enter a private room after I introduced myself. She looked at me from head to toe with a smirk. I wondered what that was all about. After entering the room, the door was closed by the staff, leaving me alone to face that judge who was not satisfied with my submitted designs. Turning my head to face the only person in the room other than me, I gasped slightly. A pair of familiar light brown eyes met mine. Ashley's POV. It must have been my unlucky day. Why must it be him? Was he really a judge for this designer's competition? No. Please no. I whispered a spell to change my appearance to other than those he could recognize. Not an easy spell for me to cast. But I have to try something to try to get out of this situation. I was not ready to face him. Not yet. Realizing the man seated opposite me was Nikolai made my heart beat faster than usual. For a moment my tongue froze. I didn't even have the courage to greet him immediately. At that moment, I recalled something. The whole place where the competition was held was free from magic and supernatural powers. It was like a void. Everyone was made equal. A fair competition to all species. I closed my eyes for a few seconds and took one deep breath, praying he would not recognize me. Good evening. You asked for me. I'm Tiana Winters, I said my words calmly, trying my best to hold my nerves without using my calming spell. Without looking at me, he said his words while reading a document. You are disqualified to enter the competition. Take your submission and leave. What the F a sec? How dare he say such things? I worked hard to complete the submission. And why is that? I asked with my voice slightly raised. I demand an explanation. An explanation? I could hear his words being said in anger, while he slowly lifted his head to finally look at me. He was not at all looking happy or friendly. Why on earth would anyone hire him to be a judge? He would probably disqualify everyone. Nothing would please him. He was known to be a man who was all the time with an arrogant and unfriendly face. Yes, an explanation. I have thoroughly checked my submission. Everything was in order. There is no reason for you to disqualify my entry to this competition. I said my words under one breath with my lips trembling a little, mostly due to my disappointment with his actions. This is supposed to be a fair competition. Did I not mean anything to him? I gave him my body back then. Did he not recognize me? I was feeling a little upset and angry with this man. Explain, or I will bring this matter up to a higher level of authority. You man-wolf. Man, wolf man. Whatever they call your species. All right. My brain was not functioning. That was a little embarrassing, with his eyes looking into mine. We were in a staring competition. I did not blink. He stood up slowly from his seat behind a mahogany desk and sneered. All right, Miss Winters. Whatever your species calls you. Despite his words with gritted teeth, for some reason, his anger at me was looking kind of sexy. But I was not showing any interest in this man who did not even bother to look for me for the past 5 years. Perhaps it was just a one-night stand for him. It was clear to me that he did not even care about our night together. And he should never find out about Teddy. Bam! The sound shocked me, making me let out a soft yelp. My eyes moved to see a file and my submitted designs were placed on his table. He wrapped his strong and muscular arms on his chest and said to me, Go on, have another thorough look into your submission. Tell me what is wrong with it. I sighed and rolled my eyes. He was so annoying. Why won't he just tell me what was wrong with it? I walked towards his table and faced him. As I looked down to flip open my submitted file, several objects fell off from the pages. I wondered what it was. It did look familiar. Oh my God, I said while closing the file back. My eyes were staring at a blank space to think. It was not what I would have done. Not in a million years. Take it out, he whispered while standing next to me. No, I said. Take it out. I said, no, don't make me ask you another time. Take it out yourself. I'm not touching those condoms you placed in your file. I stopped talking as I was too embarrassed to even look at his handsome face. Damn, he smelled so good. He got closer and whispered. Were you trying to bribe a judge? What? No. I turned my head to the side to look at him. I was framed. I would never do this. Never do this. Like never had you seduced a stranger for your own benefit. His words made me swallow my saliva. What the hell was he talking about? Who would want to frame you, Miss Tiana Winters? You are not even the top 3 designers in the list of great achievements. Nobody cares about you. You are nobody. His words were hurtful. I had so many things to say to him. But I did not want to start an argument with him. Was he letting out revenge on him? Was it his doing? I definitely did not want him to remember me on what we did that night 5 years ago. That would lead him to Teddy. At that moment, I felt that he would take my Teddy away. If he knew I gave birth to his son, I kept silent and avoided his eyes that were staring at me intensely. Those sexy eyes haunt my dreams at night. I knew he was becoming more furious, but my mind was trying to think of who would do such a thing to me. Was it Helen? Or was it Nikolai who wanted to have a reason to see me again? The second choice was unlikely to happen. Without any warning, he suddenly trapped me on the table, and I could feel his warm breath on my neck. Did you lack men in your life? Is that why you placed those condoms in the file? I should have turned around and slapped his face, but I moved to the side and avoided being too close to him. But then, he pulled my hand and pushed me to a wall. I gasped, while staring at his handsome face, while he pinned me to the wall. If you have so much desire for sex, I would not mind to fulfill your wishes. His words made my heart skip a beat. Nikolai's POV. When I saw her again, it was as if time fell into a tiny speck of dust and was waiting to explode at lightning speed. That is what I felt inside my chest. It was as if for a moment I had forgotten how to breathe. My heart was beating faster each second, erratically out of control as I got closer to her, looking deep into her mesmerizing blue eyes. I exhaled my breath. She was gorgeous. Indeed, even with her trying to change her looks, I knew it was her, my Ashley, my little witch. At that closeness, I could hear her heart beating fast, even when she tried to hide her fear from me. I could sense our connection getting stronger. Did she feel it too? It was magnetic. It was magical, as when the skin from the back of my hand touched her soft cheeks. I felt sparks fly. Electrifying. Seeing her eyes twitched a little. I knew she felt it too. She tried so hard to calm down. Perhaps she had forgotten what I am. I was not just a werewolf. I was more than that. Her heart wanted me. Her body was in heat. But I sensed something was holding her back. I wonder what it was. And I was going to find it out. Did she not remember me? Was she trying to avoid me? Why? She could run forever. Hide from everyone. And I would search for her each time. But in the end, I knew every path would lead me back to her. I never recognized what love is before I met her. Was this love? In that moment of my weakness, I felt her hand on my chest. It was slowly pushing me back as my lips were just inches away to hers. Don't. Her whispered words were sweet to my ears. But it annoyed me at the same time. No woman had ever rejected me to be close to them. Did she not want me, sir? She swallowed her saliva and opened her eyes wider to look into mine. I will prove my innocence. Someone did this to me. I will find the truth. Call me Nikolai. I took one deep breath and moved slightly away from her. How do you plan to prove your innocence, Tiana? At the mention of her fake name, she let out her breath. Was she relieved that I pretended not to know her? Or did she not remember who I was? Oh, my dear Ashley. You are one mysterious woman. How about a fingerprint test? Allow me to use a little of my powers and I will prove it to you. I am sure it would not be mine. Her words did make sense. I nodded to that and moved to my table to press a button under the table, just for 5 minutes. If you use your powers for other things, I will send men to catch you and lock you up in a cell for violating the peace treaty. That got her attention. Of course, as the princess of Averna, they would let her out immediately. Why would the queen punish her own granddaughter or put her in chains? To my surprise, she nodded and walked towards the table. She placed both of her hands on her designs and the condoms placed on my table. As she closed her eyes, I could hear her whispered a spell, an ancient spell said in a language not spoken for many years. What kind of witch are you, Ashley? I wondered. In my mind, I was already imagining myself pushing her face down on the table and make love to her. Did she not know how much was I suffering, not being able to mate with her? There. Can you see it? She opened her eyes and said her words while looking at the fingerprints visible on the designs. The different colors represents different person had touched it. Mine blue, yours red. The green is of another person. You can call another witch to verify this. She was right. I had seen this sort of magic used before. There was someone who wanted her being disqualified from the competition. I wondered who was it. I think it is time for you to apologize to me, Mr. Wolfguard. She said in an arrogant way with her arms crossed her chest. Cute. But I would not do such thing. Hold on. So, she did know who I was. Did she remember our time together 5 years ago? Damn you, woman, that proves nothing. I scoffed at her and shook my head before I growled. It could be a trick you did just now to mismatch the fingerprints to confuse me. Also, you had just proved something else. I let out a hint of my frustration. It had nothing to do with the damn designs. It was me being angry at her pretending she did not remember us. And what would that be, Mr. Wolfguard? Get to the point. How dare this little witch raise her voice at me? If you are a qualified designer, you should know how to protect your own designs. Clearly you lack experience. And that makes me question whether you are worthy to join this prestige competition. I did not know what came to me. I did not mean what I said to her. I wished I could take my words back. How dare you say such things to me? She scoffed back at me and placed both her hands on each side of her small waist. Oh, she was angry, and I liked it. Well, I would find the truth. And when I do, you still owe me an apology, Mr. Wolfguard. Her words made me chuckle, and I moved to rub my chin while looking at her. Perhaps I could teach her a lesson for what she had done to me for the past 5 years. 5 years of agony and hurt. I was going to make her beg for me. I'll then make her submit to my demands. You have until midnight tonight. I then walked away, showing as if she meant nothing to me. Not a second later. No proof, no admission. I'll disqualify you myself. Before I closed the door to the room, I could hear her cursing at me in her own language. I somehow loved this feeling I have for her. She was different from other women I had met in the past. I smiled behind the closed door and knew the game had just begun. Ashley's POV. Wes, Powant, that idiot, I shouted to myself, as he closed the door, leaving me behind to fix the mistake that was clearly not my fault. Stupid wolfman. Was he blind? Did he not see I had just proved to him about the different fingerprints? I was not sure if I was angry at his ignorance on what I had shown him. Or was it due to the fact that he did not recognize who I was? Did I not mean anything to him 5 years ago? I then exhaled my breath. Of course, he already moved on with that woman with the name Pamela. Sexy woman with big tits. I looked down to my chest. My boobs were not that bad. That wolf. Why must he be so handsome for me to hate him more? I was cursing him in many languages, but my powers were not working anymore. Once he left the room. Annoying prick. I wished I could turn him into a frog and throw him out from the window of this building. Realizing I had only until midnight to fix this mess, I stayed back for several minutes and planned to check on the surveillance camera. There must be something caught in the camera that would help me to prove my innocence. After half an hour looking at the video recordings in the security room, I then saw a familiar-looking woman that had entered the room to submit the designs after I had left the place. Helen, oh that bee-bud chai. Sensed she was bad news, I looked for more evidence to see if there was anything stronger to show she had planted those condoms in my file. But it was to no avail. Damn it, where could she be? I sat back on the chair in disappointment, while staring at the screen of the surveillance recording playing back at me. Maybe at the masquerade party held tonight. Every participant would love to attend the party hosted by the royal family of Averna. The security personnel said to me while eating a tray of desserts which I had bribed him with. I smiled at him. Thank you. You are of great help. You are most welcome. Your Royal Highness. His words made me turn to look at him. What did he say? Looking at me nervously with his mouth full of cake. He swallowed them all at one go. You are not as bad as how they described you to be. I promised I would not tell anyone I saw you. Princess, please don't burn me into ashes. I have 2 young sons. What kind of monster did he think I was? I shook my head and sighed. You got the wrong person. My name is Tiana Winters. I'm not Princess Ashley Knight. A common mistake people make here in Averna. Good night. I walked out confidently without looking back at the man who had recognized me. I needed to do something to make my appearance unrecognizable as Ashley. I did not want anyone to take me back to my old unhappy life. Walking out from the hotel, I then made a call to Gina to ask her for an invitation card to the masquerade party. I remembered she had one for me. Come on, Gina. Pick up the call, I whispered to myself as I called her for the 3rd time without receiving an answer from her. She must have already gone to the party, thinking I was not interested to join her. Or perhaps she was fecking someone. Out of luck? That voice startled me and made me jump to the side, with one hand placed on my chest. I stared at that annoying man who refused to believe my innocent self. Were you stalking me? Me? Why on earth would I do that? He said his words with a frown. You are enjoying this, aren't you? I asked, and squinted my eyes while looking at him. He was surely lying and definitely bad at it. Do I have the face of someone enjoying the moment to see you? Those words kind of hurt me a little. I was hoping he would be delighted to see me again after 5 years. Well, I was clearly delusional, clearing my throat once. I then looked at him with my head held high. I need your help. He lowered his head and asked, Could you speak louder? I did not hear you. Seriously? I was sure he heard me once, exhaling loudly. I got closer to him and whispered, I need an invitation to that party going on tonight. Which party? The only party I know is the masquerade party mainly held for those qualified to enter this competition. And of course the royal family and friends of the Queen of Averna. He got closer and whispered back at me. You are none of them. Ursh. This man was annoying. What kind of game was he playing with me? Did he seriously do not recognize who I was? The security personnel did so in few minutes with me. How can Nikolai not know who I was after what we went through 5 years ago? My mind was spiraling into a web of confusion. And I knew he was enjoying that moment of torturing me. Well then, Mr. Wolfgard. I'll find help elsewhere, I said firmly. Before I walked out away from him, 2 gold invitation cards were flashed in front of my face. Call me Nikolai. I'm sure you know who I am. No, I don't. I answered quickly and frowned at him. I just know you as that judge who refused to believe me. Maybe it was you who tricked me and caused my submission to be disqualified, and why would I do that? His devilishly handsome face was so close to mine that I could even feel his warm minty breath on my cheeks. Because you are a werewolf, and for centuries your kind hates my kind. I pushed him back gently with my fingers and continued to walk away. Then, I felt a hand pulling my arms. It made me turn around to face him again with my cold hands fell on his broad and strong chest. For a moment we were looking at each other again. God, I love his eyes. They were deep and sparkly. I sensed there was something more about him. Was he just a werewolf? His eyes were much calmer than what I had seen back in the room earlier. What happened? Did I say something wrong? I'll help you, but you would have to pay me back with a favor in the future. Wear something nice. You have half an hour to get dressed. I'll wait for you here. He then let me go and turned around to leave me in the cold alone. I watched him enter the hotel again, hoping he would turn around to look at me one more time, but he did not. What just happened? Nikolai's POV. Almost half an hour later, I stood outside the passenger door of my black Lamborghini. I have asked my bodyguards to leave me alone tonight with the woman they thought to be Tiana Winters. Soon, Pamela would hear me going out with another woman. I did not care. I never said I was in love with Pamela. She assumed too much. After exhaling the smoke from my cigarette, I recalled what Ashley had said to me. She too knew the consequences of us being together. That centuries-old dispute between the werewolves and witches of the East were something that would make our bond almost impossible. I did not care a feshek for it. If Ashley was indeed my mate, which I could sense she was, I would defend her with my life. She should not worry about any werewolf that would want to hurt her. Was that why she ran away from me? Was she afraid of being with me? I wondered about the possibility of this. I needed to fix it. She needed to know how important she was to my life. Are you going to open the door to the car for me? Her sweet voice made me look up at her with a smile, but that smile on my face froze the moment I saw what was on her body. What the fetchik was she wearing? My eyes scanned her appearance from head to toe and back up to her pretty face. I then growled. Are you missing something to wear on that dress of yours? The black dress she was wearing was revealing her cleavage a little too much to my liking. The side slit at her leg was showing too much skin. I hated that more. No doubt she was breathtakingly beautiful tonight. But I did not like the idea of other men looking at her. She was too sexy looking for a stupid party. So sexy that I felt some hardness in my pants. We are late. Stop stalling. It is either you open the door for me, or I'll move to the driver's seat and drive us there myself. Wherever that place is, she said to me angrily. Why was she so angry at me? I should be the one angry at her for wearing that dress, leaving very little for others' imaginations. Get in the car, I said angrily, and not even bothered to be the gentleman I planned to be for her as I had thought to be earlier. Stubborn woman she was. She can open the door to my car herself. As we entered my car, I drove us to the masquerade party in silence. My mind was still on that thing she was wearing. This is one of my latest designs this year. A limited edition dress, and my bestseller. Deal with it, she said to me before rolling her eyes at me. Best design. I hated it. I wanted to tear it into pieces. I took a glance at her and held my breath after I saw her revealing sexy long legs. This woman is the death of me. After I left my car at the valet service, I offered my arm for her to take, but she arrogantly refused it and walked away from me. What was wrong with her? Was she angry at me now? Women. They are so difficult to understand. Following her from behind, my eyes were trying hard to stop staring at her beautiful and rounded bottom. It annoyed me much to see how other men looked at her hungrily, and of course, I stared back at each of them with anger. I was sure no men would dare to approach her after I made it known that this beautiful witch was my date for the masquerade party. At least she agreed to wear a matching mask with mine. I was watching her every move even when we were separated. I had people coming to me to talk business that I was not interested in. While pretending to hear their boring business proposals, I drank my wine with my eyes staring at her petite sexy figure walking around the ballroom. She was looking for someone. I wondered who it was. Did she finally figure it out on who had ruined her design submission? That was fast. Beauty with brains. Good qualities I looked into in a woman. After another half an hour, I saw her standing at the sides with her eyes focused on looking at a familiar-looking couple. Eldrick, do you know who they are? I asked my human friend who was standing beside me. He was watching over his pretty and pregnant wife from far. Who? He asked with his eyes still focused on his wife, pointing at the couple who Ashley was still staring at. I asked again. That couple at the other end. The one wearing matching gold mask with diamonds on them. Finally, my love-sick-looking friend turned his gaze to the couple I mentioned. Crown Prince Philip and his fiancée Helen Ross. Excuse me. I need to check on my wife. Talk to you later, Nico. Eldrick walked away swiftly, and was seen to approach his wife, and whispered something that made her smile happily. I wondered what it was. At times I was jealous seeing how happy he was with his wife. I wished one day I would have the same with my mate. A good marriage with several children. My mother would be happy with that. Philip, that name sounded familiar. I thought for a moment and searched for what I could find on Philip through my handphones. The results I read made me frown. It was him, the man that my Ashley had run away from. Her former fiancé, looking at Ashley again. I could sense her emotion even from where I was standing. Was she sad seeing Philip standing beside his new fiancé? I walked towards her while ignoring those who wanted to talk to me. I needed to know. Was she still in love with that useless-looking human called Philip? She? Better not be. With my hand placed gently on her back, I then whispered closely to her ears. It is close to midnight. Are you making progress, Tiana? She gasped, feeling my hand on her bare back. I too felt it, loving the feeling of her soft skin on mine, but seeing the pain hidden behind her eyes, I was getting angrier. I hated seeing her looking at another man. Who are you looking at? I said. With gritted teeth, finally, she looked at me, even with her pretty face hidden from behind the mask that had covered half of her face. I could feel how sad she was at that time through her teary-looking blue shining eyes. Ashley's, Pauv. I sniffled a tear quietly. I did not expect to feel so sad seeing Philip standing next to that beat-bitch Helen. When I saw his hands placed on Helen's waist, I felt hurt like 1,000 knives piercing through my already broken heart. Did he love her? I wondered for years, hoping it was all just a bad dream, but it seemed all hope was lost for Philip to love me back. How could he do such things to me? I loved him. We were happy once upon a time. Feeling Nikolai's warmth next to me, I somehow felt a little better. For some reason, I felt some sense of bitterness in his eye. Perhaps he saw me looking at another man. I hoped he would not ask me any more questions about Philip or Helen. I would not know how to answer him. Even after 5 years, my mind found it difficult to process what had happened to me 5 years ago, when I lost all the things I loved in my life. To Helen Ross. It was all clearly over between me and Philip. He had moved on, and so did Nikolai with his rumored fiancée, named Pamela. Again, I was left alone in this world. All I truly had now was my baby boy Teddy. My son was the only person that truly loved me, looking at Nikolai who was waiting for me to answer his question. I somehow could feel his emotions. Was he jealous? That was impossible. I have found the person who tried to ruin my reputation. I will get her fingerprints and prove to you that I am innocent, I said before walking away from Nikolai. I did not even wait for him to talk back at me. He was definitely watching me. It was as if his eyes were glued to my body for some weird reason I did not understand. If he liked me, he would not have treated me so badly. He was rude, and I hated the fact that he did not like my elegant dress. As I moved my way closer to the fake-looking Helen, I made sure no one was looking at me. It had to be done subtly with no witness. Seeing me approaching Helen, well, she was already known to be the future queen of Dracor and future wife of Prince Philip. That beefudge took everything from me. I hated her. I whispered a small spell to make her not notice of my presence getting close to her. I could feel my powers dampen at the ballroom. Something was felt blocking my powers to reach its full capacity. Did they install some sort of witch protection spell at the party too? What were my family afraid of? I then paused to think and realized they might do it for me. Were they expecting me to come home one day? I was useless. In Averna, without my powers functioning at full capacity, the clock would strike at midnight soon. I had no time to waste. I needed proof that Helen had sabotaged my designs. This time, I was not letting her win. When I was about to succeed in getting Helen's fingerprints seen on her empty glass of wine, I felt someone pushed me to the side. That little push made me trip and fell on the floor with the broken wine glass cutting my fingers. "Hey!" I shouted at a woman who I suspected had pushed me down. I then slowly got up and wiped the dirt on my dress. That little scene of me falling down to the floor had caught the attention of those nearby. Whispers were heard, followed by some who had pointed their finger at me. My attention then moved to my side where I saw Helen too was on the ground. No way. Did they think I had pushed Helen down? How on earth was I able to do that? She pushed Miss Ross. I saw it. Apologize to Miss Ross. Whoever you are, that annoying high-pitched voice was familiar. I have heard it somewhere. When I saw the face of the owner of the voice, I gasped. It was Miko, my evil cousin who hated me. The feeling was mutual, by the way. Looking around, I saw her twin Lunars standing near Helen. Ha! Those idiotic cousins of mine had something to do with this. Something was going on, and I was going to find it out. I did no such things, I said in anger, and stared at Miko with my piercing blue eyes. Are you blind? Look how far hell! Miss Ross was from where I was standing. Miko shook her head and shouted even louder. You were lying, Lunar, you saw it too, right? Of course, that no good cousin of mine nodded her head, like a headless chicken. Damn, I wished I had my powers back. I was surely wishing I could turn Miko and Lunar into donkeys. How dare you hurt her? Guards, take her away. It was not what Philip had said to me that had hurt me. It was the way he said it that had bothered me much. It was as if he did not recognize me at all. How was it possible that Helen could recognize me but not Philip? Something was going on here. I felt something burning on my chest. Whispers of strange voices heard in my ears. What was going on? Did the spirit of my dead witch ancestors try to warn me of something bad was going to happen to me? You have no proof. Do you know who I am? I said with gritted teeth while pushing my powers to the maximum as I can. I could feel some form of warmth on my palm. Whatever spell was done to limit my powers at the ballroom. I was close into breaking it. My eyes were slowly turning into shades of red until someone shouted at me. You are lying! She is a witch. Look at her. Witches can't be trusted. Tiana Winters. That is her name, that new famous designer. Why did she push Miss Ross? It was just an accident. I do not believe a word she said. The whispers were getting louder, and more hate words were heard as compared to those that had pitied my situation. I tried to argue back, but it seemed no one trusted me. Take off your mask and reveal yourself. Apologize to my fiancé. Now Philip shouted at me rudely, and refused to listen to any words that came out from my mouth. Well, perhaps it was time for me to reveal who I was, after 5 years of hiding. It may be time for me to come back and face my enemies. But then, Nikolai stood in front of me facing Philip. At the sight of Nikolai defending me, everyone kept quiet. No one dared to say a word. Why? Were they afraid of him? They should be afraid of me. Author's POV. The Royal Masquerade Party happened once a year, and fully sponsored by the royal family of Averna. A grand night of celebration with invitees from royal families around the world, including those who were qualified to enter the annual designing competition. Prestige, classy, and extravagant. It was a dream come true for most to attend, an event where the citizen of Averna was looking forward to every year. It was their chance to meet the prince and princesses, while having a good time, not caring of their status in society. A luxuriously decorated banquet table filled with delicious food and expensive drinks were provided for their indulgence. Unlimited supply with the finest delicacies to taste, a reason to why the designing competition was one of a kind. The winner would have the chance to design elegant dresses and suits for the royal families. It would make them prosperous with money and fame. A good reputation that would last for a long time. The young and single would offer themselves as dance partners, whereas the married couples would take the opportunity to strengthen their relationship with their spouses. A lively event indeed, with live string orchestra playing songs that were to everyone's liking. It had one rule. Everyone was to cover half of their face wearing a decorated mask, for everyone would be treated as an equal. One night of liberation and fun for those without a dance partner. Other entertainers were present to fill in their night with magic shows and games. It was most importantly a place where paranormal beings would be present under one roof. No wars, no fights. Everyone seemed to abide with the importance of maintaining peace and serenity, led by the Queen of Averna. But, seeing the dark alpha of the realm being present with a witch, Everyone's attention moved to Nikolai Wolfgard, who stood firmly in front of a woman they were calling his mistress. Miss Tiana Winters. Everyone was anticipating a fight to happen. What evidence you have against my dance mate? Just words from two women who are known to spit. Lies when they talk. Nikolai took one step forward, which made everyone else took 2 steps back. They were all afraid of what he would do next. His strong aura was vibrating the intensity of the dance floor. He turned his gaze towards 2 women who he guessed to be twins. You, come here. Repeat what you just said to my woman. The twins who he knew to be the infamous spoiled daughters of the rich billionaire from the Martini family. Nikolai growled and exhaled his deep breath. Those around him gasped and moved back, being afraid of him. Nikolai had long been watching the ill behavior of Ashley's evil twin cousins, who she had shared with him her disappointment and hate towards them. 5 years ago, how he wished he could hurt them back, as much as how they had hurt his Ashley, staring at the one called Miko. Nikolai squinted his eyes and used his abilities to search her with his deep and perfect vision. When his eyes met her hand, he thought he saw something familiar. Show me what you have in your hand. What? It is none of your business, Miko answered, and kept her hand behind her back. She scanned the room for a way out as she sensed the feared Alpha Nikolai was taking steps towards her. You look nervous, Nikolai sneered, and moved to reach Miko in a second. He dragged her out from hiding and pulled her hidden hand. A decoration of designs was seen scattered on the floor in front of Miko. Explain that. Those are mine. The trembling voice of Helen was heard as she watched her designs on the pieces of paper lying on the floor for everyone to see. You stole my designs, Miko. Philip, who stood next to Helen, was speechless for a moment. He was not sure if it was due to his actions in blaming an innocent woman, or was it? He felt he knew that woman he had mistakenly accused of pushing Helen down. Some strange and awkward feelings were forming in his chest when he saw the woman by the name Tiana Winters. There were some visions playing in his head, but he could not see the face of the woman in his memory. He wondered what was going on to him. Philip, do something, as Helen touched his arm. His mind was cleared of that memory. The pounding effect inside his head was no longer there. It made him smile awkwardly at Helen, turning to look at Miko. Philip sighed of annoyance. How dare you steal the designs of my fiancé, guards? Take them away from this event. Lock them up until I find a way to deal with them. Of course, he could not just punish the twins willingly. They were the relatives of Ashton Knight. The Queen's son-in-law. He had to deal the matter with care. He would dare not anger the Queen. Apologize to my woman. Now? Nikolai shouted angrily, with the veins on his neck showing. He knew who Philip was, and he was not liking how Philip had treated Ashley that night. It was disrespectful and rude. The matter will be dealt appropriately, and we will take necessary action on Miss Miko Martini, Philip said arrogantly with his head held high. He was not going to apologize to some stranger. Don't forget the peace treaty. I will deal with my kind, and your kind deals with yours. Enjoy the rest of the party, Nikolai. That's not an apology, Nikolai said, with gritted teeth, and moved to hold Ashley's hand. You are a disgrace to your kind. He then walked out with her following behind him. His words to Philip were unexpected and had made Philip's face turned red in anger. If it was not for the peace agreement between human and werewolves, Philip would have moved to fight Nikolai to restore his honor. Nikolai and Ashley's fingers intertwined with each other tightly, which had welcomed gossips about Nikolai's new relationship with a witch. Many wondered where was Pamela. The rest of all the invited werewolves followed behind, leaving the masquerade party. They knew what it meant by Nikolai's words. No support was given to Prince Philip's behavior. As soon as they were outside of the hotel where the masquerade party was held, Nikolai could see Ashley trying hard to hide the tears that fell down her cheeks. He pretended not to notice the sadness that was forming in her heart. He could feel it. She was in pain, a pain from a broken heart. As his car arrived, he opened the passenger door for her to enter like a true gentleman. Something that others standing near him found it odd. It was unlike him to do such things to a woman, especially a witch. The ride in the car was in silence, while Ashley kept gazing out from the window. She did not want to show Nikolai the sadness that was forming in her chest. Then, she realized. He was not driving back to where he had picked her up. Sensing her nervousness, Nikolai smiled and held her hand while driving. I'll take you somewhere to ease your mind. Just trust me,